Excuse me? Excuse me? Excuse me? Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Sorry. Mommy?
How the heck are you, everybody? I am Fastidious. Welcome to my channel. Dahlia is here. She is coming. She arrived on test server today. I want to start off by telling you she arrived in the gallery, but she actually has not arrived yet in our accounts. So you can see I'm missing one hero in the game, and that is going to be Dahlia. However, I have all the information we need about the Queen of Roses right here. I just won't be able to test her yet. So hopefully, I think in a week max, we should have access to her. She should arrive on our test server roster. So let me know already in the comments, maybe before the video or after, once you hear me go through everything, the pros and cons of her kit, where you guys want me to test her, and how you want me to do so. So as you guys can see from the top of your screen, we are on the Fastidious test server. I will show you like always. This is the test server. None of this is real. This is just a playground for content creators to show off and demo heroes that are already in the game or are coming to the game. Let's go back to the gallery and let's get into it. You'll see I am teeny tiny for this video, and that is because I think, in my opinion, Dahlia is absolutely the new best looking hero in the game, so you don't need to look at me. I thought I'd make myself really small so you can focus on her. All right, this kit is amazing. I really love this kit. I adore it. It's super unique. It's super fun. However, there is at least one big old problem with it, or at least a key piece of wonkiness that we are going to have to unpack. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
So this is not 100% confirmed, but according to the leak boys, it is very, very likely that this limited banner for Dahlia, Queen of Roses, will arrive in exactly 15 days on May the 24th. So keep on saving. Alrighty guys, so we're going to start off with the kit, then I'm going to talk about the really wonky thing, which is her range, and then we will break down her exclusive artifact, which could be amazing, could be okay. We'll have to look into it. We are going to get it for free, though, from the event she is coming with, so that is absolutely huge. But before I do get into the kit, I actually, now I'm thinking about it, I have to just touch on the range. You can probably already see it. She has got a range like Ardia or Valkyra or something, right? It's even bigger, actually. It's 5 tiles straight in front of her. It might seem amazing. Obviously, it seems unique. We've never seen a platform unit have this before, and I do think that is with good reason. You can't really block a whole lane effectively at all. You know, you're always going to kind of be perpendicular to it. I'll go into further detail later, but when you are a platform unit with this range. So right away, think about this range and how weird it is, this long straight line, to have that on a platform unit, on a mage or a marksman, in this case, obviously a mage, as I go through the kit right now. So let's do it. Her talent generates 1 Cursed Blossom. If you saw my leaks breakdown vid, these used to be called spikes. Now in the final version, they are called Cursed Blossom. And I postulated, I had the idea they probably were like an underlined clickable tooltip, and we just didn't know what they did. That is now confirmed. So the spike, now called Cursed Blossom, does the following. It's going to be generated for 15 seconds. It deals 100% damage a single time, so just not AoE or anything, just 100% damage one time, and inflicts 50% slow for 5 seconds to ground enemies who enter the affected tiles. So they walk through the tile, they receive 1 instance of 100% damage, and a not fully big boy slow of 75%, only 50% only, but it lasts for 5 seconds. That is tremendously long. That's going to make an enormous difference, have a major impact. Then on top of that, when they pass through that tile with the Cursed Blossom, inflicts 1 stack of poison for 10 seconds to up to 3 ground enemies on each affected tile every 3 seconds. So as she fills up her range with these Cursed Blossoms, enemies can get multiple stacks of poison as they pass through the Cursed Blossoms, which will take them a while probably because they're receiving slows the whole time for 5 seconds per Cursed Blossom that they walk through. It's very, very cool. It's strictly unique. It's special. I really just love how outside the box they went with this kit. Then when she generates those Cursed Blossoms, it's going to be on a random tile in her range, that 5 tile range in front of her in a straight line every X seconds. So how long is X seconds? Well, it's going to be equal to 1.5x her attack interval. So she's got a big attack interval of 3.5 seconds. However, unlike another cultist mage like Virna, or Zealous, you can lower it. So as you put attack speed on it, you can get that lower. 3.5 seconds, you're definitely going to want to build her really speedy. So let's just give you an example. If you built her with like 350 additional speeds, like let's say 400 to 450 total speed, you could definitely get this down to like 1.8 seconds. So it's going to be 1.8 times 1.5. That's how often she is generating the Cursed Blossoms. So it'd be every 2.7 seconds, just to give you an idea. If you built her at a flat 2-second attack interval, it'd be every 3 seconds. So Dahlia can generate those Cursed Blossoms very efficiently and, consistently. However, it's not going to be like rapid fire. That being said, she only needs to generate 5 at a time because she can only fill up her range, which is 5 tiles. Another part of her kit, and I do believe this is just a separate thing from the Cursed Blossoms, is that she cannot target airborne units. There's a chance it's saying the Cursed Blossom cannot, but I actually just think it's, sometimes they'll fit 2 separate things into one talent when really they are 2 effects or 2 features. I think the way this reads is that she herself, Dahlia, can only target ground units. Got that complicated talent out of the way. Now let's go through quickly this line of skills. So her basic attack, it's an AoE magic attack, and I love here that they tell us the number of targets it can hit. It's 100% AoE damage up to 120%. That hits up to 10 enemies. That is absolutely huge. Just baked into her kit is a proper major AoE, about the highest AoEs we will ever see without other random passives. 10 units from the basic attack. Love that. Now to Dahlia's ultimate. Death's Despair. It's a manual ultimate. When this is activated, it increases Dahlia's damage by 20% for 10 seconds. This can go up to 30% damage increase. During the skill effect, the hero's basic attack prioritizes igniting one existing Cursed Blossom. So she generates those Cursed Blossoms up to 5 throughout her range. It will basically blow them up. You can kind of see in the animation loading over here. I've been having this error the whole day on the tester, but you can see she popped it there. Big old explosion. And it does that amazing effect. So after she ignites it, it deals 220% AoE damage to up to 8 nearby enemies. So not a full 10 like her basic attack, but that's still a solid AoE. And that AoE damage can go up another 50%. So it's 270% AoE damage. It also inflicts slow and 2 stacks of poison when she pops that thing, when she blows it up. So that slow, again, it's going to be the same slow as before, a 5-second 50% slow. And then the poisons are going to last for 10 seconds. She's doing 2 stacks at once now. It's pretty cool. I think poison might be able to work with this hero because unlike the other poison heroes we have, she has pretty high base attack. It's not crazy high. The only other poison hero in the game with decent base attack is going to be Aracha, but she doesn't put out poison very consistently. Dahlia absolutely should. I'll show you the base stats after this, but her attack is just over 4,100. So not particularly high, but it should be solid. She also has these damage ramp up skills. The cost of this thing, by the way, can go down to 800, and it has an initial cost of 500. It lasts for only 10 seconds, but I guess that will allow you to cycle it a bit faster. However, if the range proves to be the problem, it might be. I'm hoping I'm just missing something, but there may be large periods of time where she cannot get out consistent basic attacks because there aren't heroes in range, because you're probably gonna have to cross a lane. Like there's very little content where you have like a platform facing right down the main lane, especially the kind of content you'd need her in. So normally she'd probably be on a platform over here going across, and you can see how not that many units might be in her range at the same time. She can't build as much rage. She might not be able to ult as much as possible. More on that later. Let's get into the passives now. The first one, Demonic Surge. For every Cursed Blossom ignited by Dahlia, it's going to increase her critical damage by 18% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So, during her ultimate, as she's popping, exploding, igniting those Cursed Blossoms, as long as she does it to 3 or more during the ultimate, she will get the max 3 stacks of the crit damage increase. It starts at 18%. With skill ups, you can get another 12%, so it's 30% per stack. That's 90% crit damage. So ideally, you're going to want her going pretty quickly so you can ignite the Cursed Blossoms quite quickly, and she does ignite them using her basic attack, so that will scale with her attack speed and a lower attack interval. You can see basic attack prioritizes igniting one existing Cursed Blossom, so she's also going to be the kind of hero where her ultimate is very much like enhancing her basic attacks. There is the separate AoE effect, but that is something worth noting, especially when it comes to speed and popping those things. So if you can do it quite quickly, if you get her in a nice low attack interval and you have the Cursed Blossoms existing, a 90% crit damage boost is kind of enormous. Then if we go to the passive here, Thorn's Embrace, and this is a very tricky part of her kit, and we'll get into it more when we talk about Awakenings. If there are at least 2 instances of Cursed Blossom adjacent to an ally, the ally gains block increase and damage increase. So the block increase is just steady at +1. The damage increase starts at 12%. With skill ups, this goes to 20%. So when you talk about adjacent to the ally, I believe it's any tile touching that middle square that the ally is in. So to the right, to the left, up, down, and the corners directly diagonal. That is how I'm choosing to read this. You guys let me know what you think. This is very interesting, and this is kind of why I'm thinking they chose to give her this range. So maybe her range is going to like run parallel. So you'll have someone like Ardia on a tile, or Valkyra, or any melee unit. You know, it could be Arrogance, it could be Abomination, whatever. And, you know, in the adjacent tiles, so if they're on one lane, the lane next to them, that's going to be Dahlia's range, and that's where she makes a big row of the blossoms. Then there'll be many blossoms that can be giving these kind of support boosts, the block increase and the damage increase. However, that's obviously those melee units are going to be in the main lane. She's going to be in the parallel lane, so she herself probably won't be doing that much. It's very strange to me. It's very, very wonky. So time to talk about that. What on God's green earth is going on with this range? I think I need to go into content. I don't have Dahlia yet, as I said, but if we pop open some gear aids and stuff, I can just show you why this is so weird when I present a map to you. So let's go to Gear Dungeon 1, aka Gear Aid 4. Let's just pop open the map info over here. Now, a lot of content, you're going to put your main DPS for the bottom on this tile, right? Let me actually just enter so you can see it a bit better. So whatever, we've got random heroes here. Let's enter the battle. It's that tile I just highlighted. You'll see as I put someone down right now, but that's where you put your Virna or your Comet or your Pelagios, something like that, right? You put your, let me find a, do I not have any? Oh, here you go, Ajax. So you see, you put them here, right? And this is how they're going to cover these tiles. This is where the guys on the bottom march down. And obviously Dahlia is going to suffer like crazy. She's basically going to be useless because she's going to be covering 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this tile's on in play, but she'll cover these 4 tiles. No one's walking through those. Every once in a while we get 2 archers, the skeleton archers that come down from here. They'll pass through this for like a moment's time, so maybe she'll slow them and kill them, but she's essentially wasted. When you've got someone like Comet, whose range is going to be these 3 and then this tile over here, and then Virna, who's going to have this whole 3x4 tile range, that's really great because effectively they're covering this with the archers coming down there. There they come. But also these guys that come from here and come down this row. Dahlia will not be able to do that absolutely at all, right? Let's just put Elo in here just so we can continue the fight. Not that I needed to, but you know what I'm saying. You can imagine Dahlia is going to have these 4 tiles, and that's it. If you chose to put Dahlia, do I have another plot? Here, Silas. If you chose to put Dahlia here, right, she'd only be covering these 3 tiles, so basically only this tile, because the archers never walk through these 2, and these guys will all just pass through this 1 tile. So what is going on here? I mean, is there a world where you're doing like a tank strat or like a melee fighter strat, some kind of thing here, and you're loading these guys up, you're putting a bunch of curse blossoms here, and the 2 here will be buffing the guys over here? You know, so I can just pick up Elwyn for a second. If we have Arrogance here, you know, and there was a bunch of curse blossoms here, this would be 1 blossom, 2 blossom, 2 adjacent, so he'd get an extra block, he'd get a 20% damage boost. Sure, that's something. Or more realistically, it'd be like a Reeve or a Trusk, a Cyrus, right? You'd probably be doing it with tanks. Is that worthwhile? I don't know. So I think they're gonna really have to think about it, and I will send this directly to the devs. You guys make some noise and let me know what you think in the comments. It needs to be wider. She needs a little bit of extra width on the right and the left, because that single row, for the content we have and we need her with, you know, lots of units, so AoE is going to be relevant, and lots of ground units, since she cannot hit, you know, airborne units. I don't know. I'm not totally seeing it. It's very weird to me. So that's Gear Aid 4. Let's actually go to Gear Aid 1, which is a place where absolutely she should shine like crazy. I think even still with this range, she can, but I do think she's immediately limited by this wonky, straight 5-tile line range. So let's go to Gear Aid 1 right now. It takes me 1 second to get into the map, and then we'll get that going. All right, so here's Gear Aid 1. Let's hop in. Let's just make sure we have some platformers so I can demonstrate. We actually don't. I'm glad I checked. All right, let's just put Silas in the mix, right? All right, this is not a run. I just want to demonstrate how the map works. So normally what you do is you put, this is how I do it. You know, I always do from the left. Some people do from the right, but you put your main DPS like here or here. So for me, I'd put Comet here. For this example, we'll do Silas just since he was right there. So you can see Silas, perfect example. He's actually got the same range as Virna, who's another popular hero for this. He is covering 1, 2, 3 tiles. You know, no one's going through the wall ideally, so that doesn't matter. But then these 4 tiles up here as well. Dahlia would only be doing 1, 2, and 3. We don't know if she can place Curse Blossoms on platforms. I'm assuming no, because that's where you place your units, and of course that's where like airborne things would be happening. It's also possible if she does place Curse Blossoms here, you're locking out your units, so then like I couldn't place Leia here if she is able to place Curse Blossoms on those platforms, so that'd be another issue. But let's just say she cannot, even though it doesn't explicitly say it, and she can only place it on melee tiles, on ground tiles. She's basically only covering 1, 2, and 3, so you're not getting the full effect of her skills, not at all. So I think right away that's a big problem. You're also not going to be able to put any tanks along the wall because her Curse Blossoms ideally will be taking up all those spots. So think of kind of like what happens with the skeleton guards from Cyrus or something like that. I think it's very weird, and I don't know what their thinking is. Maybe some of you guys do, so you let me know. Another thing is maybe you're thinking, oh, okay, I can point her up and she can go this way. I actually think she won't be touching the boss when he comes here. And yeah, she might provide a little wall of Curse Blossoms to slow these guys down, but I can't imagine she's going to do much damage, and I can't imagine it's going to be that relevant. If it was a bit wider and she could do, she also could do this lane above, not just the lane directly in front of her, see what Silas is doing here. She could place Curse Blossoms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, would just be crazy. You could even make her range she doesn't get the ones to the side, just like a little square here, and then you get a little extension where Leia is in the one over, so maybe like a 3x3 with 2 more on the top over there. I think that'd be very interesting. But then she could be placing Curse Blossoms here, and with those 5% slows, if you've got Blossoms on these 6 tiles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that would be amazing. So much crowd control to enable your cultist teams, so much damage potential for her herself. I think it'd be amazing. As it stands right now, I think it's very weird and very wonky. I'll give you one last example. Let's go to a resource raid, because even there, I don't think she makes too much sense. So again, let me know what you think about this range. It's so weird. Let's go to the XP raid. I'll pull that up in 1 second, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, here we are in the XP resources raid. I figured let's actually look at some mages and pull some in. So here's some really popular ones. We got Boreas, we got Comet. Let's also bring Kriya, the best hero in the game, right? So you can see how these guys work and why they are viable here and why I'm worried about Dahlia. Not that this is important content, but I just want to show you it's not just like, oh, in these key gear raids, it's a problem. In all content, when you want to block a whole lane, you need melee units for that. So like if you can imagine Ardia, let me actually exit the battle and show you how Ardia works, and then you can kind of imagine how Dahlia will not work, or maybe Valkyra, she's a bit more accessible. I'll show you right now. Okay, so let's pop in Ardia and Valkyra. Let's go now, and you will see. So the way a mage works in a map like this, and it's not, who cares about the resource raid, right? But you can just see, you can like put Comet here, and he's covering this whole lane, right? This is the lane they march down, and this is how most content works. There's like one straight lane that people will march down, or at least towards the end of the map, kind of all the enemies will be marching down one line. Well, Comet's actually able to block 3 of this lane, 3 tiles of this lane. That's kind of huge, right? Someone like Ardia, look at that. She can block 4 right in front of her. You might be thinking, well, great, Dahlia can block 5. That's so cool. That's not how this works at all, right? So if you were to place Dahlia, we'll just use Boreas as an example. You can imagine if he had Dahlia's range. So if you put Boreas here, right, and he was Dahlia, he's only blocking that one main tile right here that people are passing through, because it'd just be a straight line. If you choose, okay, I'll put him further back, like here, he's not freaking blocking anything, or if he was Dahlia, because it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, nothing here. It's not blocking the lane at all. Sure, people can come to the side. Sure, she could work for a map like this, but in most maps, there's like a single corridor that people are marching down that really must be blocked by melee units, and then you need these wider ranges. Occasionally on your melee units like Zealotry or Arrogance or something, you'll have a wide range, which just makes them even better. But usually they have this kind of straight range because it covers the lane through which the enemies are marching down. But you need the wider ranges because someone like Valkyra and Ardia, as melee units, they can cover the single lane because they're actually there on the ground standing in the lane. But when it comes to your platform units, you need that width so you can not just be this like one tile of perpendicularity that they have a play on. I hope this is making sense, guys. I hope I'm articulating this. I think it's really weird, and I think unless there's something I'm missing or they change it, it really undermines all the really exciting, really cool things in Dahlia's kit. Alrighty, let's quickly go over her base stats, then we're going to do Awakenings, and then we're going to go over that exclusive. Not too much longer here, guys. Do not worry. So base stats is going to be really simple. If we look at her attack, it's not very high. It's coming in at like 4137. Virna's somewhere in the 4300s. Comet's somewhere in the 4600s. As we know, base attack doesn't matter that much. The second highest base attack in the entire game is Kriya. She is tied with Alistair after only Praetus. So, Kriya is trash. She's got high base attack. This is not not the end of the world. There's a lot of crit damage boost and damage boost in Dahlia's kit, so you can kind of heavy focus attack, and you'll get the rest of the stats that way. I don't think this is a big problem. HP's normal, defense normal, magic res normal. I'm talking for a legendary mage. Cost is a bit high at 21. This is the same as Kriya. It is one more than Fierna. I think it could be a problem, but if we can figure out something I'm missing about the range, or if they remedy the range, I think she's well worth the cost. I think she's going to be amazing. And then the other key thing is that big attack interval at 3.5 seconds. However, if she did have like 2.6 seconds like Comet, I think that'd be too fast, because she would just be able to like basically rapidly, instantly put out all those Cursed Blossoms. As it is, even with this 3.5 second base, you can definitely get her interval down to like 1.8 seconds in a good build with a lot of attack speed. And then in a normal build, 2 seconds shouldn't be too hard. That means with the 1.5x times the attack interval that she applies when it comes to placing the Cursed Blossoms, you're still going to be looking at like that 2.7 seconds or that 3 seconds per Cursed Blossom. I think it's absolutely fine. Everything else pretty normal. Rage Regen auto at 14, it's solid, it's normal, nothing to discuss. So with the Awakenings, A1 is kind of huge for her. If we find out that she is still super usable with the range, or that the range will be changed, I think this is something you're going to want to jump on. So if you remember from her passive, Thorn's Embrace, if there are at least 2 instances of Cursed Blossom adjacent to an ally, the ally gains block increase and damage increase. The block increase is kind of huge for any tanky content. The damage increase is just awesome because damage is awesome. I mean, that's the kind of game we are playing. With only 1 instance needed, that's what happens at Awaken 1, this is so much easier. Because keep in mind, since she's on a straight line, as it is right now, where she summons those Cursed Blossoms, basically they need 1 to the side and then 1 on diagonal, or 1 underneath and 1 a diagonal, something like that, right? It's going to be a lot easier when you only need 1 instance instead of 2, especially since, keep in mind, during the ultimate, she's going to be popping those things. She's going to be igniting those Cursed Blossoms, and as it is, even without that, they only last 15 seconds. Now with the A2 plus 300 attack, insanely typical. The A3, 25 extra damage to targets inflicted with poison. I think this is awesome. Poison is a key part of her kit. As long as we find a way that she's covering a lane or a corridor where enemies are passing through all the time, ideally multiple tiles she's placed Cursed Blossoms in, they should be under poison like constantly. It lasts 10 seconds. She can apply many stacks. This is great. I do think she'll be a good damage dealer if we can find a way to make that range work, baby. Then the A4, I like this one. It's not world breaking, -2 cost. It puts her at 19 cost, which is totally typical of an AoE mage. Someone like Comet has exactly the same thing. It's kind of annoying since she's starting a bit high, but she is a unique hero with a unique range and a unique kit. So 21 seems fair. Again, with the stipulation, we can find a way to make her work. And then 19 will be very, very nice. She'll be right on par with the Comets of the world. And then A5, it took me a second to understand what this is saying. I think I got it. If you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But it says, Cursed Blossom also inflicts the same amount of damage and slow effect to enemies who leave the affected tile. I think this is a reapplication. When you enter the tile with a Cursed Blossom, you get a 5% slow and you get 100% damage one time. I think now when you leave a tile that had Cursed Blossom, again, you'll receive another 100% damage, a singular instance, and a reapplication of a 5-second 50% slow. I think I'm right there. If I am, I think this is super duper strong. I mean, that's kind of what is to be expected for the A5 on a limited hero. All in all, I like her Awakenings. So much of how much I like this hero is strictly contingent upon what's going on with this range. Are we missing something? Am I missing something? Or I am going to submit this directly to the devs. Are they going to change something? And finally, her exclusive artifact, the Orb of Ruin. This will be part of the event that arrives when her limited banner comes. I suspect the event will last like 4 days to maybe a whole week, 4 to 7 days or so, and there'll be a redeem shop. In the redeem shop, it is confirmed you will be able to purchase the Orb of Ruin. You all should do it if you're going to summon for Dahlia. You know, is it her best in slot? We don't know. I'll talk you through it right now. But assuredly, getting a mythical exclusive artifact is just something you can't pass up. At the very least, it is good. So let's read it. A new exclusive artifact, Orb of Ruin for Dahlia, which increases attack by 10, and this is at base promo, all the way up to 20% at max promo. This is a post-deployment boost. Very strong. Obviously not nearly as strong as probable best in slot Tear of Twilight, or the presumptive best in slot, which is going to be 20% at base promo and all the way up to 30% at max. Now, it has an additional effect, and this is, to be seen how impactful this is. This could make it her best in slot, or it could make it just a good option, but not as good as something like Tear of Twilight. When generating a Cursed Blossom, there is a 40% chance to generate either a Mutated Blossom 1 or 2. Time to get complicated. So what is a Mutated Blossom 1? Well, it comes with an additional effect. It's dealing 50% damage per second to enemies on affected tiles. And I do believe this means as long as they're on an affected tile affected by Cursed Blossom, and the Cursed Blossom does not get ignited and explode or expire, for that whole duration, they will receive 50% magic damage per second, until it's gone. That could be really, really strong. It depends on how you've stacked up these other things in Dahlia's kit, the crit damage, the damage boost, all that good stuff. Also, good time worth mentioning. The damage boost from Thorn's Embrace absolutely can apply to her as well when you've got her A1 and you only need one instance, because it could just be the tile right in front of her. If that is affected, then she's getting that boost. All right, back to the Orb of Ruin. There's also Mutated Blossom 2. So this comes with a different additional effect. Reduces the effect duration to 5 seconds. So the normal effect duration of a Cursed Blossom, if you look over here, is going to be 15. Now it's 1/3. It's only 5 seconds. However, when the duration ends, it explodes and deals 300% AoE damage. I do not know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like it might be a bad thing. I think a huge benefit of the Cursed Blossoms is going to be that you're getting poison application and you're getting a very significant big uptime slow, 5 seconds on a 50% slow. So if these last longer and expire after not 15 seconds but only 5, I'm not sure how good that is. But if you want her to be like a main DPS and there is content, again, we have got a contingency. There's content where we can make the range work. I think it could be pretty huge because she will summon them pretty frequently, and basically it's like every 5 seconds, one of those things is exploding for 300% AoE damage. She's getting them out very fast. It could be even less than 5 seconds as they're all on different intervals. I think it's a pretty cool thing. I think we should all purchase it from the Redeem Shop regardless, but it will require some big testing. That has not yet arrived on my account either. Obviously, even if it had, it wouldn't matter because I can't test it since I don't have her. So I guess I'll just end by saying I hope she arrives soon. I will test the heck out of her. Let me know how you want me to test her, where you want me to test her, and any theories you have about what the heck is going on with this range. Again, I will directly, the second I post this video, I will send it to the devs to ask them, hey, can you change this range or can you explain what the heck is going on? Unless you guys explain it to me first. All in all, there's wonkiness in this kit, but if we can resolve that, it's an amazing, amazing kit with good DPS, good support, and it's super unique. You love to see that in a game like this. I've been Fastidious. If you like my stuff, give it a big thumbs up. Talk to me in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel, share it with your mother, and I'll see you real soon.
Fastidious.